In 2010, Ford built a desert race truck with a warranty. This is the Matchbox 2010 Ford F-150 SVT Raptor. All right, let's take a look at what we can learn about the history of this awesome truck. In 2010, Ford Motor Company took a risk. At the time, full-size trucks were built to tow, haul, and commute. Off-road packages existed, but nothing from a major manufacturer had ever been engineered specifically for high-speed desert running. Ford's Special Vehicle Team, or SVT, had a bold idea. Instead of building a street performance truck like the Lightning, they would build something inspired by the brutal terrain of the Baja Desert and races like the Baja 1000. The plan wasn't to build huge numbers. In fact, early internal expectations were conservative. This was a niche concept, a wide, expensive, specialized off-road truck. There was real uncertainty about whether buyers would understand it or buy it. They were wrong. The 2010 SVT Raptor launched as a supercab with a 5.4-liter Triton V8 producing 310 horsepower and 365 pound-feet of torque. It came exclusively with a 6-speed automatic and 4-wheel drive. Performance with the 5.4-liter was respectable, 0 to 60 in around 8 seconds, but the real magic wasn't in straight-line speed. It was underneath the truck. The Raptor was 7 inches wider than a standard F-150. That width pushed it beyond 80 inches overall, which legally required clearance marker lights. Instead of hiding them, Ford integrated 3 amber marker lights into the grille and additional markers at the outer corners of the truck. Those lights weren't just styling, they were required by law because of its width. And they became one of the Raptor's most recognizable design signatures. This wasn't just an F-150 with big tires. The Raptor featured long travel suspension and factory-installed internal bypass shocks from Fox Racing, technology typically reserved for purpose-built race trucks. It offered over 11 inches of front suspension travel and more than 12 inches in the rear. Ground clearance sat at roughly 11.2 inches. Approach angle was around 30 degrees, departure angle about 23 degrees. It had skid plates, a locking rear differential, hill descent control, off-road tuned ABS, reinforced frame sections, unique control arms, revised shock towers, and specially calibrated stability control designed for sand and high-speed dirt. The top speed was electronically limited to around 100 miles per hour, not because it lacked power, but because of the aggressive off-road tires and suspension design. This truck wasn't engineered for highway bragging rights. It was built to fly across the desert. Then in 2011, everything changed. Ford introduced the 6.2-liter V8. With 411 horsepower and 434 pound-feet of torque, the Raptor suddenly had power to match its suspension. 0 to 60 dropped into the mid-6 range. Quarter-mile times landed in the mid to high 14s. It wasn't a sports car, but for a 6,000-pound off-road truck on 35-inch tires, it was impressive. And buyers responded. What was initially expected to be a low-volume specialty truck quickly became a sales success. Demand far exceeded early projections. The Raptor wasn't just a niche experiment, it created an entirely new category. Production for the first generation ran from 2010 to 2014. In addition to the original supercab, Ford introduced a larger Super Crew, 4-door configuration in 2011, making it more practical for families without sacrificing capability. Original MSRP started in the low $40,000 range for early 5.4-liter trucks and climbed into the upper $40,000s and low $50,000s when equipped with the 6.2-liter engine and additional options. Compared to a standard F-150, the Raptor had a wider track, unique body panels, composite front fenders, a vented hood with heat extractors, reinforced frame components, specialized electronics, and suspension geometry designed from the ground up for off-road punishment. A regular F-150 was built to work. The Raptor was built to run. And its overwhelming success didn't go unnoticed. It proved that buyers wanted factory-built, high-performance off-road trucks, not just aftermarket builds. Years later, that seed would grow into competitors like the Ram 1500 TRX, which followed the formula the Raptor pioneered. Massive power, wide stance, long travel suspension, and desert capability straight from the showroom. The Raptor didn't just sell well, it changed the truck market. And today, when we look at recent sales on Bring a Trailer, we'll see a clean low mileage ones selling for a pretty good price. So let's take a look at what they've been selling for. All right, here's a few that have sold on Bring a Trailer recently. This is the most recent sale here. This is a 2011 Super Crew sold for $33,333. This one just sold, wow, looks like this one just sold today. That's an interesting color too. I've always liked that color, kind of that orange red. This one only has 74,000 miles too, which is pretty low for a 2011. Like those wheels on it. The Raptors tend to have a lot of aftermarket stuff done to them. It's getting harder and harder to find them that have nothing done to them, but they're still out there. And I like the interior too. Depending on the exterior color, they would do different things with the interior. Some of them were just all black, some had blue inside, some had like a silver patch in the middle. And then they would do the same thing, obviously, with the dash, depending on the exterior color. This one doesn't even have a screen in it, but some of the later ones then came with a screen for like a backup camera or whatever. There's the big engine. And then this one has the window sticker shows an MSRP of $51,780. Here's another one sold just last month, just a few days ago. This one sold for $41,000. This is the 2014 Super Crew. That one only has 70,000 miles on it, which is great. Looks pretty stock. Now this one just has the all black seats inside. Once again, based on whatever the outside color was. There's the little bit of the dashboard. I love the shifter too, how they put the shifter down there in the center console on the Raptor. That's a really cool feature. There's the engine. Now here's a black 2013. This one sold for $30,027. This one just sold 2 weeks ago. This one's got 106,000 miles. Comes out of Washington. And then here's a blue one. I love this color blue. This is actually the Super Cab version, so it's got that smaller cab behind it. This one sold for $25,000, the 2014. And this one has 154,000 miles on it. Yeah, I just love that. And it doesn't have the graphics on the bed either. And then you can see it's got the little bit different color on the seats as well because of the blue on the inside. And then one thing that the Raptors all had too is this little red thing on top of the steering wheel to help you remember where if you're racing through the desert, where the straight ahead is. If that's up at the top, then you know you're pointing forward if you glance down or whatever. So another cool little feature on the steering wheel. Because this wasn't just another trim package, it was the first factory desert race truck with a warranty. It started a movement. And trucks like this, Matchbox, Ford F-150 SVT Raptor, they're way too special to be sitting in a box somewhere. Trucks like this are meant to be seen.